All right, everybody, welcome back to coverage here of the U.S. Regional Championship here in Dallas, Texas. My name is Corey Baumeister. That's your 2016 World Champion, Brian Braun doing. BBD, it's finals time. Are you excited?
You know I am. I want to see who gets second place, which is what you said was the best place you can get in this tournament. I'm excited to see, who's going to come in second. That's the important thing here.
Thank you, BBD, for that expert analysis. So let's look at our expert bracket to see who has the great honor of at least taking second. BBD, walk us through what we've seen so far.
Yeah, so we've seen this Boros Convoke deck really dominate a lot of this top 8 bracket, but additionally, this Gruul aggro deck has also been a really good performer, and we actually just saw it beat Boros Convoke. So I'm interested to see, can Chris Barone get revenge for the loss of the Boros Convoke, or are we going to see Adam Weiss take this tournament down with Gruul aggro?
Yeah, I mean, he just played this exact matchup to get to the finals, so going to be really interesting. Let's take one last look at the deck list here. You've seen these decks all day, so we're kind of going to breeze through it. This is, of course, Chris Barone's list of Boros Convoke, the deck of the tournament, I would say so far, as it just put 3 decks into the top 8, has looked really impressive and looked really, really good in the hands of Chris Barone this last match. I'm still reeling from that match, our first quarterfinal. It was incredible. Let's take a look at Adam Weiss's list. This is the Gruul aggro deck, BBD. Just took down Boros Convoke. Can it do it again?
I think it can. I think it is probably, I would guess, a slight favorite in this kind of matchup. And what we saw in game 3 is exactly why, because this Boros deck is flooding the board, it's going wide, but the Gruul aggro deck, with being able to pump creatures and then give double strike, just can go way over the top of it. Like we saw 4 creatures blocking a creature, and it was not even close to enough.
That was absolutely absurd. What a nice monstrous rage off the top. Let's see if Adam has some nice draws left in him here for the finals. Winner is going to get this just incredible looking trophy. I absolutely love it. The design of those are so nice. You kind of see it on Chris Barone's screen there on the far right. Loser still gets a nice little trophy. Not quite as nice as the champion trophy, though, BBD.
Really? I just had thought that the second place trophy would be better for some reason.
I wonder if it's too late to get a co-commentator for the finals here. Get a second one.
Yeah. Calling for a replacement.
Yeah, no kidding. Hopefully Mason's still watching. Let's get him in here. All right, we got Adam firing it off with a mountain. And then we get a Novice Inspector heading straight to the graveyard, getting shocked. I mean, if that's not just some iconic magic right there, basically Thraben Inspector getting shocked, it just feels right, doesn't it?
Oh, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. But yeah, the nice thing about that is that interrupts the best possible draws that Chris can have.
Yeah.
And that's really important. Like it feels bad. Like, you are losing value, right? You're playing a shock on a creature that generated a clue.
Yeah, but that is definitely negative value.
Yes, but time is sometimes a little bit more important than value in these kinds of matchups.
So Voldaren Epicure is the play. We'll see if there is another follow-up. I think that there is something there, but it could just be sacrifice the blood to get rid of one of these extra lands, but nope, has the best possible play, Warden of the Inner Sky, and is able to get it out of play with fire range right now. And the one thing we don't see from this mono red deck or Gruul deck is Lightning Strike. That's the piece of removal that has basically been cut to play some of these more high impact spells like Two-Headed Hunter or Snakeskin Veil.
One thing I love here is Chris was going to tap both artifacts to put this counter on and chose to tap the Warden to itself. And the reason I love that is because if Adam doesn't play a spell, you could block with the Voldaren Epicure, but you don't really want to have to block with the Warden. So that was a good heads up play.
Definitely, yeah. You want to get that as large as possible. Now, looking at Adam's hand, we see the all-powerful Two-Headed Hunter, which looked incredible last game, as well as the nice piece of removal of the Witchstalker Frenzy. And the flip side, Chris Barone, I see a lot of lands so far, maybe a few too many. War Leader's Call, Resolute Reinforcement, and look like another land in the back. So kind of flooding here from Chris.
A little bit, but notably, Adam doesn't have a lot going on. He's
Yeah,
kind of all in on one big swing. And if Chris can, even if Chris like loses some value on that swing, like loses a bunch of creatures,
yeah.
if he can kind of soak up a lot of it, that might be enough to pull back in because Chris does have this clue and this blood that will allow him to filter draws a lot better.
Makes sense to me. So we get War Leader's Call coming into play and an attack for 4. Is Chris could just be thinking, I might be dead. That was another
Oh,
monstrous rage off the top BBD. Adam did it again.
wow, what a draw. That is just game.
Adam Wise is going to be framing monstrous rage here at the end. Or, of course, two-headed hunter. Chris Barone shrugs and says, yeah, I mean, these 4 pieces of cardboard look to combine Voltron here and be lethal.
Do you think the first head of Two-Headed Hunter is Monstrous Rage?
I think so. I think so. Wow, Monstrous Rage is just such an incredible card. But I guess we're not giving Two-Headed Hunter the credit it deserves. Golf claps heard around the arena there.
Yeah, that was yeah, I mean that's just what is so great about this version of this Gruul aggro deck is the ability to do that because a normal mono red deck in that scenario, you could Monstrous Rage there and deal, you know, what 7 damage, something along those lines, but
Yeah.
then your opponent's like, okay, I untap and I have this giant board and I'm still at 7 life and you can't finish me off past that point. But being
Yeah.
able to one shot like that's really important.
Yeah, very important. So looking at the sideboard here, we just saw this matchup and how Adam sideboarded. What are you going to bring in? I also just can't get over that mid-match golf clap. That's nice. That was a nice, polite game 1 clap. I liked it.
Absolutely. I feel like I need to talk in a whisper like
Yeah.
he's pulling up to sideboard for game 2. But yeah, I think end the festivities is the immediate one that you want to bring in. We did see that Adam was bringing in Strangle, which I think does make sense.
Yeah.
Being able to deal with slightly larger creatures than play with fire, and there's a good chance that you actually just kind of want access to both of those cards. So I think it's likely we'll see some of those cards. I don't know if there's anything else that we will see. Maybe the Witch Stalker's Frenzy as well.
Okay, makes sense to me. Let's take a look at Chris's deck real quick here as we get ready to jump into game number 2. Anything you really love out of here? Get Lost seems to be nice.
Get Lost, I think normally would be a card that looks really, really bad in these kinds of matchups.
Yeah.
But because Adam is looking to do what he just did in that last game and deal 14 damage out of nowhere, Get Lost looks a lot more impressive as like, okay, I'm holding 2 mana up. I have access to Crack a Clue. I have access to play Resolute Reinforcements. And if Adam does like all of a sudden present 16 points of damage, I can play Get Lost.
Yeah, so one thing I'm wondering, BBD, is do you think Adam takes out the 2 Snakeskin Veils in this matchup? Just because there's not a lot of spot removal that's, really being cast from these Boros decks, but all the Boros players are still kind of playing around the Snakeskin Veil. It feels like Adam might be on level 2 while everyone's level 1ing it up.
I do think that it makes a lot of sense to take out Snakeskin Veil. I think
Yeah.
there's just such a little amount of removal, and it's a very marginal card outside of protecting a creature from a piece of interaction.
All right, well, we're getting into game number 2 to hopefully see some more heavy plays like we just saw that last game. And speaking of heavy play, speaking of what I just said, make sure to check out Heavy Play here, which is the sponsor of the stream, with that code in the bottom right-hand corner if you're interested in checking out some of these cool play mats that you're seeing right in front of us. All right, action underway. We see Novice Inspector come down and a Monastery Swift Spear from Adam, no attack. And
Yeah, Novice
back Chris's
Inspector
way.
made it more of a Monastery Slow Spear.
Ah, very good, very good. God, you know what? I hope chat was still, the people around here that would give you a golf clap like that as I'm doing. Very
Yeah,
good.
exactly.
Very good.
Yeah, I like to think that everyone there would golf clap if they heard that.
I think so. Or just boo this man, one of the two.
This would be a nice spot for a Knight Errant.
And there it is. Okay, Chris Barone with the best possible play. And wow, just look at this polarizing board states here. Chris Barone has 8 power in play, just drew 2 cards, and Adam Wise has a 1-2 that I'm guessing here in 4 turns is going to attack for like 16.
Right. I think this might be a little bit of a different game. Like we saw this actually in the last matchup too, where game 2 looks a lot like this from the Boros Convoke side.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, if any card's going to do something, it's going to be that plotted slick shot show off. I don't even know
Yep.
if you have the ability to plot it. Of course, you can, and we just saw it. But, I don't know if you are really in the position that you can play around something like a case of the Gateway Express. But as I say that, Chris does have it. And wow, would this be incredible if Adam was able to pull off some crazy victory with those 2 monstrous rages in hand?
yeah, there's a certain card that would actually be a great draw for Adam, and it's Snakeskin Veil. The one that we were talking about before. But actually,
Yeah.
it is possible that there's not enough time. This is an attack for 8 damage, and
Yeah.
it's going to solve the case.
Okay,
And
there is the double strike card though, BBD. If this gets played for free and there is a 3rd untapped land, 2 spells.
There it is.
2 spells. Wait, plus monstrous rage. Slick shot show off gets plus 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 16 damage, BBD.
Wow.
It's not lethal, but turn 3, there's 16 damage. And if that Monastery Swift Spear didn't die, 16, 17, 18, it would have been 19 damage.
Wait, Chris is at 17 life here.
Oh, okay. The life totals weren't updated. Wow. So Adam was 1 point away from lethal here?
It looks like it, but there notably still, if Chris does not have a removal spell,
Yeah.
can like chump block the Knight Errant, soak up a lot of the rest, and then set up the same thing for the next turn.
No way. I was honestly kind of joking when I'm going through lines of how Adam wins this game because Chris's start was so phenomenal. But
Yeah.
like, just think if Adam top decks a land and has rage plus double strike, and Chris is not able to win the game this turn. It's not even like it's like, oh, maybe Adam has lethal. He for sure has lethal.
I don't think you even need to top deck the land. You can play the Rage here, which actually is going to let one of these slick shot show offs block one of these other creatures and survive the combat as well.
Because you can block 2 of the 2/1s now. Take 4, take 8, take 9, go to 3. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision of whether to block with the other creature or not. Gonna choose not to.
I'm confused.
Oh, and there is the removal spell.
Okay. Now, to be fair, I don't think 1 slick shot show off was really going to be enough. I mean, I guess Chris did go down to 16.
I think it would have been enough. I think you can monstrous rage and get the roll attached to it, and then next turn do the 2-card combo.
But also, if Chris or if Adam just blocked 2 goblins, then you're able to, yeah, we're going to game 3. If you just block the 2 goblins, then Chris just doesn't cast the Get Lost and then only casts it on whatever creature gets targeted by the twice the rage, the adventure side of Two-Headed Hunter. So I think no matter what, depending on the blocks there, Adam was not going to be able to win that game. But he was within 1 point with Chris being at 17.
Which is ridiculous because Chris had the best draw, right?
Yeah.
And Chris did win that game, but the fact that Adam actually had a chance to win that game, the way that played out was incredible.
Wow. Yeah, that was really incredible. So we've seen these lists. Let's just get into game number 3. This is the final game here of the US Regional Championship. One of these players is going to be taking it down and have this title for life. The champion of a 1,300 person event as the US Regional Champion. I mean, this is an incredible event to win.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a huge event. There's so much on the line for all the players involved. There's great prizes. Getting the invite to the World Championship for 2 players. A lot of players going to the Pro Tour or even in the next regional championship as well. This is a huge event to win. Like, this is not a I won a local tournament or something. Which not to knock those are awesome as well.
Yeah,
But this is a major win that you get to keep that forever.
I gotta look back to that turn and be like, he did plot that slick shot show off. What if that one damage really mattered? I mean, Chris had the case, so I think you could have just destroyed that, so it would have been a completely different game.
Right.
But very interesting. You know, in these aggressive mirror matches, it's not like these games go 20 turns and you have 1,000 decisions to make that dictate who wins the game. These games are very short, but each decision has that much extra gravity on them when it comes to playing this. So.
And I think a lot of times players misunderstand amount of decisions for like difficulty of decisions. Like I personally perform a lot better with decks that have lots of decisions over decks that have only a couple decisions, but those decisions are very difficult to make the right one.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's necessary. Like people, I think a lot of times look at these decks that have less decisions and say, oh, those are easy mode decks.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true because while they may have less decisions, those decisions are so difficult to make.
I mean, even looking at your resume, you know, we've been on testing teams for a long time. Your world championship, banned humans, you know, you top aided Pro Tour, London with humans as well at a format where we're like, you're playing humans, BBD? Like, we're just like, what? Like, we were all playing these Tron or Dredge decks, but you just dominated with the deck, and I feel like you play those type of decks very well.
Yeah, and I do enjoy this deck. I play these kinds of decks very poorly, and I don't think it's because I do, and it's just because I'm not good at making those individual decisions. Some decks that have a lot of decisions, you can sometimes make the wrong one. You're actually going to a lot of times make the wrong one, but as long as you make the right one often enough, it'll reward you.
Yep. Good to know your strengths when it comes to a Magic player. So, I mean, look at this already. Blink and you miss it. Yep. Adam's attacking for 5 here, has the Snakeskin Veil this time, which basically everyone has been playing around so far. Here's Resolute Reinforcements. Do you just try to block both of them and hope?
I think that Adam knows that Chris has Resolute Reinforcements.
Yeah, I love one block. I love one block if he does that.
I think one block is great. I think that's a wonderful block because you force something out of Adam, or he'll just say this creature is gone. But you don't give up your entire board for it. Yeah,
and I think you're pretty priced in to still playing this, you know, rather than just letting a 1/1 eat your creature here. But
this is still a good trade for Adam. You still get to eat a creature. You still get to deal a lot of damage. You keep your entire board. But for Chris's side, that was much less painful than it could have been.
100%. And one glaring problem here from Chris is no third land. So has Get Lost, has Case of the Gateway Express, and is able to interact with these cards as much as possible. And here's the nice thing. Chris basically is not going to play around Snakeskin Veil anymore because there's only one left in the deck. I don't think you should. But at this point, we're going extremely wide here. There's a spell cast. Each of these creatures gets boosted up by 1. You get to Get Lost, the biggest card. Monstrous Rage, is that just game?
I think that is, yeah.
That is game. Adam Weiss is your U.S. regional champion after piloting this incredibly awesome Gruul aggro deck, which looked like a combo deck at certain times, all the way to the World Championship, all the way to the finals, and is our champion. A deck that is relatively under the radar, too. I mean, Gruul aggro was not something that really any of these players were getting ready to play against. BBD, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. I loved watching all of those games. Like I thought Adam played really well. I thought the deck was really well positioned. Like you were saying, Convoke was such a huge part of this metagame. Yeah. And I really feel like this Gruul deck looks good against Convoke, the way it's constructed. So I felt like Adam constructed his deck in a really smart fashion for this tournament and then played really well and got rewarded by drawing the right cards at the right moments. And that's what you need to win a tournament. You need a combination of a lot of things. You have a great deck, you play well, you get lucky in the right spots. I mean, it's just a wonderful tournament.
Yeah, totally awesome. Two-Headed Hunter just won the U.S. Regional Championship. I mean, that is just so sweet. A card that people probably forgot about unless you played a lot of that limited set. just took it down. That just shows like how great Magic is, that you can
Oh,
find some of
yeah.
these kind of hidden gems and win a big tournament with it.
Yeah, like 5/4 Menace for 5. I didn't realize how good that was in Standard, but apparently it's great. Apparently it's good enough to win a tournament.
I'd be curious to hear how many times he actually cast that part of the card. Would be something
I
I'd
would
be very
guess
curious to know.
it is something that happened fairly commonly. Would be
Yeah.
my guess.
So that is going to do it from you and I, BBD. We got some other stuff to take care of here after we say this, but BBD, any closing thoughts here on the U.S. Regional Championship as a whole?
Yeah, I just want to say that it was a blast to do this kind of coverage with you, and it was a blast to watch this tournament and see like all these great players playing all these diverse strategies, and there were so many awesome plays, so many awesome games, players making these like sick plays in light of perfect information, that it was really a joy to watch.
Yeah, it really was. You were great in the booth. Golf clap to you, BBD. You deserved it.
I got second place out of our commentary pairing, which is winning. In
a clean second place.
Which is what I've heard is what you want to be. So
it is absolutely the best. Yeah. So one last time, I believe we got one more heavy play giveaway. So we'll put that up here on the screen. Or that giveaway is going to be drawn here. Type heavy play in the chat to win our final giveaway of the $20 store credit here at heavyplay.com. And one last order of business is we have Tan and Grace talking to our champion here in the interview. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. Let's watch this interview.
Back for the last time this weekend from the floor here, brought to you by Heavy Play with Adam Weiss, our champion of the regional championship. Look, you've qualified for the Pro Tour, right?
Qualified for Worlds.
You've qualified for Worlds. Has it really sunk in yet? I mean, you feel like you're a bag of emotions to me right now.
Yeah, I'm currently shaking. My hands are tingling. I can't feel my face. To go from like playing competitive Magic for like a few years, playing Burn, randomly spiking an Energy 5K, and then like second RC, I win. Like, I can't describe it.
Yeah, I can't describe it either. I think this is one of the best stories I've seen in a long time. You know, you coming out of nowhere, winning this RC. Great deck choice this weekend. You just ran through this top 8, a bunch of aggro matchups and stuff like that. Like, this deck had to just be great for you all weekend.
100%. I lost 2 rounds the entire weekend to Slowgurk playing a Titania on turn 3. And then they gained like 14 life on turn 4, and yeah, I lost that.
So this deck's been super trusty for you all weekend. You've accomplished a lot of things here. Did you think this was possible coming into this weekend?
No. My goal here was maybe make day 2. And I ended day 2 8-1. I was like, I have a shot at the PT. Like, that's great. And then lost the first match today. And I've just won out since. And it's always been like, I guess I'm qualified for the PT. Maybe I can make top 8. I made top 8. Maybe I'll get into Worlds. I win.
And you've been telling me a lot about your history of Magic. You know, the area that you play in. You know, you play at the NRG store. You've kind of come up since you said, you know, you really started getting competitive right before COVID happened, and you know we had that shut down, and then you've come back to Paper Magic since. What's that been like for you? Like, who have you been playing with? Anybody you want to shout out maybe at home and like give them a thank you for helping you get here?
Yeah. So shout out to the entire Nerd Rage community. Shout out to Flexlot, the team. These guys helped me get through so much. Have really helped me up my game. I went from like a guy who just like played Magic with his friends and like learned at camp when I was like 12 or 13 to now I'm here. Like every step of the way, people have been supporting me. People have been helping me. People have been giving me advice and everything I can do. And it's been really great.
It's also been really great watching you this whole weekend. And thanks to everybody at home for tuning in, from the crew, myself, from the players. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for watching this. We've had a great time actually bringing this to you. And for one last time, our regional champion.
Thank you so much.